You may have not heard dual championships from UConn in a while, but it's happened again. Not the national championship, but they both conquered the Phil Knight tournaments, the women with the legacy and the men with the invitational, bringing home 2 trophies. Big week for UConn and a lot to review, but until then, I'm Mahn.
I'm Najha Dumas.
First game, we knew UConn was facing Duke. Pretty good game. They ended up winning, overcame Duke 78-50. But let's talk about the MVP of the tournament, Aaliyah Edwards. How do you think she's been doing, especially without Dorka Juhas being here?
I think I was pleasantly surprised by Aaliyah. The shots she was taking throughout the game, I think they were definitely out of her comfort zone compared to past seasons. I'm happy that she is stepping out of that comfort zone, and I think that her name is a name that we need to start hearing more of. I really hope she continues to do that and continues to be aggressive. I think it was a really big game for her, a really big tournament, especially if we're looking at how she scored half of the 20 points that we did make in the first portion of the game. So
I think she's been doing really well. I was nervous hearing that Dorka was out because we have always just struggled with having a huge post presence because we're always so heavily small guard heavy, but I think she did really well. I think she's really proving herself. She had a tough beginning of the season last year, and I'm just really happy with how she started off. Double machine, and I think I'm so glad she was MVP because she's getting the attention she deserves. You don't hear her name as much, you hear AZ, you hear Paige, but Aaliyah Edwards is one of the people we needed to do well this season. So I'm happy with how it's going so far. Overall, pretty good game. Lou, 23 points. I've loved what she's been doing so far. But then we had to face Iowa, who we knew was going to be a pretty big opponent, ranked number 9. What do you think were those main concerns in that first half of the Iowa game?
So I feel like one of my biggest concerns as a viewer during the game was that AZ was going 1-8, in that first quarter, her being one of our top scorers right now. So that was definitely nerve-wracking, waiting for her to, pick up her pace and just find her rhythm. But then again, we can't focus on one player all the time. We can't. Everybody has bad days, And so I think that it was a team effort. And at the end of the day, the shots just weren't hitting in that first half. And the passes, they just kept finding the hands of the Iowa defenders, which I think in the second half they definitely picked up on.
I agree. I honestly think they were having trouble adjusting to Iowa, having a zone defense. They do great on man-to-man. They're able to run all their little plays, but they were kind of getting stuck. Aubrey always was stuck down low. No one was helping her. And then AZ was, sitting on the 3. They just, were having trouble finding their movement.
Yeah.
And all, individually, we've seen, can score a great amount, can get into those positions. But I think the zone defense definitely threw them off. Being 1 for 10 from 3 in the first half was not great. We just weren't finding the shots we wanted. And I think that although we did end up getting the win and it turned out well, there's definitely some first half issues because sometimes you can't overcome those things, or Iowa could have done a little bit better, shot a little bit more efficiently, and it might have not been a one game. So we came back, but I don't know if it should always have to be. We have to come back after the second half. I think we could have had a better start, but overall it turned out well. Caitlin Clark, always amazing, 25 points. It's you don't even see her catch it, she's already shot it.
It's undeniable the type of player she is, and we know she's aggressive and we know how she shoots. And you never know when she's going to shoot, is the thing, because she was at a point, I think, where she was basically at half court just busting out shots. And I was I didn't even know she was going to do that.
Yes.
So there's things that, on the floor as a player you have to watch out for, and I don't think that I think they were definitely prepared for it, but in the moment, I don't think that they expected a lot of the things that happened.
I agree. I remember someone once asked Coach Oriema why he didn't recruit Caitlin Clark, and he said, I can't have everyone.
Right.
I don't know how we would, even be able to play people if we had all these people. But
there'd be no bench.
Yeah, there
would
wouldn't.
No bench.
I couldn't imagine. But she did really well, 25 points. Also, Kate Martin doesn't get talked about as much, 20 points. I was a lot more of a spread out team than I feel like a lot of people anticipated. They hear Caitlin Clark's name over and over again, but I feel like there were a lot of players on that floor doing good things. But we managed to come back in that second half. How do you think that went, and what do you think of the game overall?
I think that in that second half, they definitely got more comfortable with themselves, and the team as a unit and the chemistry really started to show. I think that whatever Gino told them in that locker room, it really stuck, and maybe they were thinking, about the championship game last year and how, they didn't want this to be just another loss, and I think that they really showed people that they can come back, which, they've done before, but especially because I think there was a lot of eyes on them being undefeated right now and being a top 10 team, which is with any team, but especially UConn. And I think that overall, it started out rocky, but they definitely showed through. They really showed the type of team they are and that they do have the ability to win. And I feel like this can be a championship team if they continue to do that and work on the hiccups now rather than in March.
I definitely agree. I know Easy said after that first half, the guards, including her, they just weren't finding their shots. And I think it is impressive that we're able to break that down just within the halftime and be able to come out a stronger team and not get so bogged down by what's already happening in that first half.
Right.
So I am impressed with how they fixed the game so quickly. 5 scores over 10 points, 2 over 20. I think that just shows like how spread out we are, and that makes me feel a lot better about the fact like people get concerned when AZ doesn't score like 20 points a game, and it's like there are other people out there that can make up for that. We don't need to rely on single-handedly one individual to score everything. And I love seeing Caroline Ducharme, 15 points, 5 rebounds. I'm so happy to see her back where she belongs, because she was kind of coming back from that injury, and I think she kind of like fell out of people's minds. But people need to know how good Caroline Ducharme can be in those high pressure situations. Just even watching the hype video before the game, you see Caroline Ducharme make that shot from DePaul. Like, that girl can be unstoppable, and I want her worked back into the rhythm. And I just saw her be really aggressive. She just finds herself a path, and I'm just happy she was out there. But I would like to see still more from Ayanna Patterson.
Yes, I think that there are players we don't hear enough from, and when we do, it's amazing. Because every single person on that team, I feel like, has the potential and the ability to be great. And I think they are all great. Obviously, they're on UConn women's basketball. Like, we are great. But I think that when you don't hear their name as much, you start to doubt them a little bit as a player in the media. You know what I mean? Because we haven't been talking about Caroline Ducharme. She's been injured. But then, again, like, if we look back to last year, her freshman year, yes, she was heard of. She was talked about. But then when she actually came out into the game and showed what she can do, there was a lot more eyes on her. And I feel like it's super important to have those players be put into the game. And players like Caroline Ducharme, Ayanna Patterson, I think Anna's super aggressive. I think she, as a freshman, is a really good big in the position that she's in, and I feel like in years to come, she definitely has so much potential to grow with the team, grow with Gino, and really get in the rhythm of what UConn basketball is.
I agree. I think the main thing that I've just seen out of her is she's big. She's a good, powerful presence down there, and she just gets stuck.
Yeah.
But she should be confident because, first of all, seeing her high school highlights, she is good. Second of all, I think it's just the rhythm of it, but she can. I've seen Dorka and Aaliyah have the same issues, but she can power through those people.
I feel like that's the good thing about that team though, because once they do get into their rhythm, it's always not always, but like, it's always a winning team.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it's super important to look at that and super important to have players that don't feel like they've already lost the game in the first 2 minutes because they're not doing the best that they could do.
Yeah.
And it's important to have players to look at themselves and look at the team and look at the people around them and say, like, we can do this and we can come back. And that's, I think, what UConn basketball always does. And they showed that even if you're down, you can still be up.
I completely agree. I think Ayana's going to find her rhythm, and it's exactly like Caroline. Like, we didn't see her, then we saw her, and you couldn't forget her.
Right.
So, like, I think once Ayana finds it, it's going to be unstoppable. And I think a lot of them, it's crazy how well they're doing and how they even have more potential that can come out of this. But I honestly am really happy with how the game went.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to be in a position where it was close at halftime, but I liked seeing them have to battle back. It kind of showed that they could all come together as a team and be able to do that and to be able to adjust. And 19 bench points, I love seeing that because really it was the starter scoring most of the time, and then Nika Mule, highest assister in the country. That's just like,
Yep.
and then they're like, Nika needs to shoot more. Nika needs to shoot more. Nika is doing enough.
Nika's
like,
shooting.
Yeah, she's got
she's shooting.
everything figured out. Like, if she can assist to everyone, that's points in itself. Nothing Nika Mule is doing is wrong. But yeah, we are facing Providence on Friday, Notre Dame on Sunday. What do you think, kind of, Dorky Yuha's coming back, how these games are gonna go?
I feel like Dorky Youthhouse she's a super big presence always for the team. It's really good to have another, big on the line. I think that we are, as you said before, super guard heavy, so having her there is definitely going to be helpful. Last year we beat Notre Dame by like 19 points, and I think that this team has the ability to do that again, and maybe by even more. And I'm excited to see another top 10 mashup and hopefully another UConn win.
Number 7 ranked, that's what Notre Dame is. I genuinely do not think anyone has a harder non-conference schedule, especially within the first month of their play, than UConn. They're just apparently going to play every top 10 team, maybe twice. They don't.
Every best player in the country is
Yeah.
kind of going against each
They're
other
like, you know what, come to Gamble.
in November.
Yeah, why not? It's good practice time. But Notre Dame does have a very good team and good transfers as well. Lauren Ebo, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Texas. She's just a huge, powerful presence down low. Watching her last year at Texas, you could just see it's very difficult to try to get past her defensively, and I think that it will present an issue maybe for Dork and Aaliyah because, I don't know, they haven't faced many other posts like how powerful she is. I think she scored 20 points in her last game. Like, she can get past anyone. She's just really good down low, and she's strong down low. So that is, I think, what I'm most nervous about, especially now that she's at Notre Dame. And then Olivia Miles, obviously a really good player, nominated for a bunch of awards. They have a good amount of really good guards. And the thing that surprised me the most, their last game, 37 bench points. So I don't think it's just the starting lineup that needs to be scouted because that is just an enormous amount. They have good freshmen too, one Ohio Gatorade Player of the Year. I think they just have a really good team, and as much as I think a win will come from this, because I think UConn is completely capable of it, I don't think it's a team that can be breezed over, especially with how we've seen rankings fluctuate already. So someone that could be number 7, maybe they're actually number 5. Like, we don't know people's full potential yet, but I think it'll be a really good matchup, and I'm excited for Friday because first game of the Big East.
Yep.
So always love that. Providence is a great New England rival. But I think overall it's just going to be a really good test for them, especially on the road. They haven't really, I don't think they have played in someone else's actual stadium. They played in the tournament, but they haven't played in someone else's home court. So I'm excited to see if maybe their student section gets a little bit riled up by our team. Let's see how they react to that. But yeah, overall, it's going to be a great weekend of basketball, and UConn is dual champions of the Phil Knight tournament. It's no longer the basketball capital of the world. It's the Phil Knight capital of the world.
Yes.
Is now UConn. Hopefully they go back next year and can do it again. But until then, I'm Mahn.
And I'm Najha Dumas.
Thanks for watching.